Girl, stop playing.
Girl, stop playing. Hey, girl, hey. Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. I'm your host, Coriel, and you are in for a treat because episode 3 is a super special episode, the first time ever that I have a couple on the show. Welcome, 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 Jason and Helani Lobdell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So listen, we got to get right into it, okay? The Instagram fam is excited about this conversation. They've been dropping questions all day, so let's get to it. So for those of y'all who don't know, you are high school sweethearts, recently celebrated your 20-year wedding anniversary. You have evolved together over the past 2 decades, which is definitely inspirational because you have managed to maintain your friendship. So my very first question, what is the formula? What's the formula for maintaining your friendship, still looking at each other and smiling at what you see? What's your secret?
You want to start it?
I'll let you go.
I think for me, just keeping the energy right. And so just because we're getting older together doesn't mean that, the funness, the newness goes away. So keeping it fresh, keeping yourself together, and just finding new ways to connect with each other even more, because as the more time you spend together, you're growing in different ways. And so you're changing, you're evolving, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you have to grow apart.
Right.
And so making sure that you find a way to, insert yourself into that, your partner's growth and keeping it fun, because at the end of the day, it's going to be us forever.
Right.
So, you just got to act like that's the case. Like there's no other way but this way. And, your actions show that.
So, Jason, what was your relationship like in high school? Like, were you all the best friends type of couple? Because it seems like that's the category I would put y'all in right now. But has that been how it started?
Well.
And don't lie.
I ain't
He tells his version, I'll tell you that now.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I've been knowing her since I was like 12, 13, like middle school.
Okay.
And then high school, around 10th grade, we started having classes together. We sat next to each other, and we really became friends, So that was like organic. We just were like shopping for cars. We were 2 15, 16-year-old kids looking for cars. Like that was our thing every third period, whatever it was. So yeah, we built a friendship like that. And then she kind of became best friends with my neighbor, that type of thing. So we always just hung out. But it got serious when she actually used to date my brother. Yeah.
Is this a Girl Stop Playing exclusive?
So I'm gonna tell you. Look, you got.
Is this the real story, Helani?
It's real.
Oh, okay.
So she used to date. So my mom got custody of my best friend.
Okay.
When we were in high school, and one day she actually called for me, and we shared the same bedroom. He picked up the phone. He like, hello. Oh, what's up? He paused the game. He walked out the room. So he walking out the room, talking on the phone or whatever. He come back laughing. Oh, okay, here he go. Give me the phone. I'm like, hello? She's like, huh? Her daddy called her. She had to leave. I was like, that was Helani? How long you didn't give me the phone? He's like, oh, we just, whatever. They just start talking, and then boom, that was our 11th grade year. She started talking about my brother, And then he went off to college. They broke up. He went off to college, and again, we just being friends and stuff like that. But what ended up happening was he was kind of like big man on campus, He left. I took over the throne.
I'm about to say, you
know what I'm
said,
saying?
bro, I got
he
you.
left, you know what I mean? And it was just something that she just was like feeling me. So it really was her. You know what I'm saying? It really was her feeling me.
Helani, you have to step in, sis. You got to step in.
Be honest.
It's true.
It's true. Okay, there
It's all true. It's all true. I dated the best friend / brother. He went off to college. We're still kicking it because we're at all the high school, all the parties over the summer, all that stuff. And one of his neighbors was one of my best friends. So I was on his street every single day, all of that. So fast forward to senior year, I'm picking up his neighbor, my best friend for school, and he outside too, And so I looked at him differently. I was like,
dang.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling him this year. Like, what's different, And so I just basically just told him, like, I like you, and locked him down.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. What?
So
listening.
this is where I'm going, like in my mind right now with this conversation, because I can put myself back to high school with the little boyfriend. I'm writing our names on the notebooks and saying we're gonna get married,
right?
Knowing we ain't gonna get married,
right?
Y'all actually did it. What, Jason? This is for you, because Helani, we know you probably ready to ride off in the sunset if you're like most little girls that have dreamed of, which you might not have been.
I wasn't.
Okay. We're gonna come back to that one. But for a man, how old were you at the time when you got married?
20.
19, 20.
Okay, 18, 19, 20-year-old mature boy, right? Because you weren't grown yet. What were you going through? Like, what was your thought process behind, I'm going to lock her down? She cannot get away. I have to marry her.
That's a good question. So I will say this. I've always been a boyfriend. You know how you got those guys that always had girlfriends? Like, I was always that guy. Like, I dated a girl.
You're a monogamy man.
2 years. I dated another girl 3 years. You know, I was already doing that middle school and high school. So I just remember really what it was. I remember my brother just being, you know, player, and I used to be like, damn, that girl go to church. You know what I mean? Kingdom Hall, you know what I mean? So I used to just be like, she's spiritual. I just used to look, and I remember saying, man, you should, you know, coaching him, like, man, you need to lock her down. That's what you need.
But if
so I
you
remember
don't,
saying that, and that wasn't even, and that never crossed my mind, but I just remember saying that and peeping her qualities, you know what I'm saying? So a year later, when she said she liked me and stuff, I already knew her pedigree, you know what I mean? So
right there, you were peeping her qualities, and you already knew her pedigree. So important. Before the show, we were talking about the whole premise of this show is to help women prepare before taking on the role of becoming a wife and a mother. I know that men can recognize certain things in women upon meeting, maybe even the first impression where they say, okay, something's different about her. Like you said, you knew that she was spiritual or religious. She had morals. She had values. Something was different. And so for the women out there, I think that is confirmation that he saw something that was different, something that he needed to lock down, could not let go. And so for, you know, if you confused, if you don't know, if you're questioning what's going on, then that's your answer. If you got to question it, that's your answer. Because a man who recognizes your pedigree, a man who recognizes something different in you, he gonna lock you down. So you mentioned, Helani, we got to get into this. You did not have the fairy tale of being a wife, all of the things. What did that look like for you, and what do you think changed? Was it you meeting the person that changed your what you wanted?
So for me, like growing up, I had, you know, of course, I have parents, but they weren't the example for a marriage. So they divorced when I was 16. You know, my dad, I have a little brother from one of his extramarital affairs.
Gotcha.
And so that's what I knew when it came to marriage. So I liked the idea of marriage, but I didn't fantasize about, I want this type of wedding.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I know that my marriage or my life will be set up this way or that way. I never dreamt like that. It was one of those things like I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to be a mom, but I also knew what I knew, and that was dysfunction. And so I just knew that was how my life was going to be. It was going to be a little dysfunctional. And so when it comes to with him, like we used to talk in high school, like we're going to have a little boy. His name is going to be Cameron. You know, we just had like, you know, some things mapped out. But did I really think it was going to end up that way? Absolutely not. No. And I didn't dream for it to. You know, it's like, this is cute. We're talking about these things, but we ain't really going to get married. And we're really not going to have a little boy named Cameron and all these things. But it totally went a different route. But I will say this, you know, from what Jason said about seeing my qualities, you know, as women, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are. You have to have morals. You have to have self-respect. And a lot of times as women, we'll bend because we think that a man wants to see us in a different way. But really and truly, they just want you for you. And they are truly seeking certain qualities. And here we are acting totally against those things and wondering why we
Thinking
can't
we winning.
Right. And they're looking at you like you cool for a night. But to be my
But
wife?
not for a life.
Nope.
So as parents of, your daughter is 16. in my studies, because I've been studying like how Black people are taught about relationships, marriage, like what we are led to believe, what we're taught, what other cultures and communities are taught. And I literally read something from a Caucasian girl talking about her college experience. And the college was promoting this ring before spring. The college was promoting your priority is to leave college with a ring. Like that was, and no shade, no judgment, because that's working for their community.
Right.
Our community, we don't do that. We're not promoting marriage. We're not promoting partnership. And so for someone who wasn't necessarily dreaming about it, but for someone who has a daughter who I'm sure is having these conversations, she's, dating boys or what. I don't know if she's dating boys. I don't know what she's doing, but what do you teach her? Like, are you teaching her go for it early because it's worked out for you? Are you teaching her invest in your education? Like, what is your message for your daughter based on your experiences and what you've seen?
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because I actually was talking to her today on her way home from school about this, and she does not want to be married, nor does she want children. And I'm like, Riley, why?
Like,
why? Right.
We got all of this.
Right,
And you,
why? And she's like, I just can't see myself as a wife and as a mom. She said, I want to have a career. I want to travel. And
y'all try. Okay.
Right. And so, I mean, she's 16, and so in her mind, that's how she sees her life. But we definitely do preach like, yeah, I tell her all the time, you are going to get married and you probably will have a child or two. You will. But do I preach for her to do it as early as we did, 19 and 20? No. I want her to have a career and really be secure in who Riley is before she takes on a relationship. So, no, you can take your time. You don't have to do how we did, but understand that this union is a beautiful thing when it's in its right context. And that's what we show her each and every day. She sees that. She sees we have fun together. We still date. We're traveling all the time.
And you haven't slowed down.
No.
So that's what I want to ask you, Jason, because I think that, it's admirable the way you all still, have your friendship. With you being the father of a 16-year-old daughter, what do you teach her when it comes to dating and relationships? Because it's hard to say don't do it young when you did it young and it worked out for you. It worked out well. So what's your perspective on it?
So Daddy doesn't. So I talk to Riley. We have really, really good conversations. But one thing I just took it upon myself to do is lead by example. Like, let my actions talk instead of my mouth. You know what I mean? Conversations are cool, but it's like she sees the way I treat her mother, right? And, if her stomach hurt, it's 10 o'clock at night. If I got to go to Kroger, put on my shoes and go to Kroger to get her a ginger ale, I'm doing these things. You know what I mean? Whether we in an apartment, whether we in a high rise, none of that stuff matters. You know what I mean? I'm going to treat her the same way I've been treating her for 20 years, So I think it's important. And my daughter, she chimes in like, you about to go? She sees like, well, that's crazy, but it's like, I'm crazy about your mama. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So the example that she sees, I think is more important than what comes out of my mouth, preaching. I show her every single day how you should be treated.
And you're showing your son how to treat a woman.
Absolutely.
As well. So another question, Jason, because I think that a lot of people, a lot of men specifically, we're talking to the fellas now, feel like marriage is going to slow them down. What has been your experience? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like you all have been fueling each other's fire. Like you are able to get and do because you have each other along the way. So for someone who's like, well, I have to do all the things, finish all the things, check off all the things before I make time for a relationship or before I settle down, what's your advice for them?
Well, I guess the advice that I would, when I do get the question like I should run up the bat, it's more the girls that talk like that than guys, maybe because I'm a trainer and I train a bunch of women. I'm not sure, but the majority of the relationship advice come from girls. They are very, very curious, I guess, to get a male perspective on things. They might not have that guy, uncle, brother, dad. I don't know, but that's really who asked me the questions. Guys, when they get humble, like they write you a whole paragraph, little bro, I'm not trying to, after they tell me that they not jocking me and all that, but I have a question, they come out with their question. I'm not sure. It's difficult with guys, you know what I'm saying? Because there's not a lot of guys rushing to, in my DM or who I talk to, especially in the city of Atlanta. You know what I mean? Now, one question I do get is, hey, I have this girl that I'm in a relationship with. How do I know she's the one, or how do I do, like, people that are already in relationships? But single guys don't hit me up asking me about no.
What's
women.
your answer to that one?
What?
How do they know? You have like a list, like you have to look for these things?
I don't have a list, but I have a certain, I ask questions. You know what I'm saying? I ask questions like, what is this person's motive and things of that nature? You know, like I say, dealing with so many women and asking them questions, I'm like, does she ask this or does she ask that? You know, because on the flip side, women say, you know, if I say I got somebody I want you to introduce you to or something, just whatever, is what do he drive? You know, what he how tall? Is he dark? Is he what he? I'm like, damn, she ain't asked, is he religious?
Right,
He got a relationship with his mama? Like, you don't care about none of that, you know? And I just think those are some of the important things. So on the flip side, this is what I tell the guys.
Right.
Like, what do you show her? Have y'all had these conversations? Have y'all talked about religion? Have y'all talked about, and I'm not even a religious person.
But that's a conversation that needs to be
But I'm
had.
like, is she asking these questions? You know what I mean? Or if she already asked you your salary and things of that nature, and she hasn't asked when the last time you talked to your mama, what's your relationship like with your mama? That's an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Red flag.
Yeah.
Red
it's a
flag right there. So I meant to ask this earlier. I got a little excited. But what are we 2 weeks out from? The people would like to know. We are 2 weeks out from something. What is it?
So I was at a matter of fact, she was at she was a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And we were at like this conference thing, like a mastermind or whatever. And the guy, the head judge, he was on stage talking. Somebody was being rude. And he was like, hey man, be quiet. Matter of fact, stand up. And he told him, take off your shirt. The guy took off his shirt. And he's like, man, you think you look good? And he was like, you, stand up. I was like, oh no, I'm with her. He's like, I know, but stand up. Stood up. He said, now take off your shirt. I took off my shirt. He said, this man ain't even doing a show, and he looks like he 2 weeks out. And look at you, you know. So
okay.
2 weeks out means like you're 2 weeks out from a
the
bodybuilding competition.
Gotcha.
From the stage.
Close
Gotcha.
to
Y'all can tell
showtime.
I don't work out. Your girl don't know no gym terminology. I had no clue what was going on. I hope I wasn't the only one with that question. But speaking of being in this space, right, and you mentioned you work with a lot of women. Question for you, Helani.
Yep.
Do you think that because y'all have known each other since middle school and I don't know if this is the case, but are you at the point where it's just like, are you like this? You know what that means. Are you like this? Or do you still feel a little some type of way about him spending so much time and all up, you know, real close and personal with the ladies?
Yeah. So, no, because, so he really doesn't spend a lot of time.
Okay.
So, Jason might be at the gym for 2 hours a day.
Okay.
Now.
Right now. Now, when he first started training, he was there all day. And when he first started training, I did feel some kind of way because, like I told you, my childhood, that's what I come from, is infidelity. And so I was a firefighter. I'm gone 24 hours, you know. I feel in my mind, I'm like, he can do whatever he wants to do. You know, he could be out here with all these different women, this and that. And so he had to tell me, like, listen, you cannot keep on trying to make me your dad. And I'm talking to you right now as your friend, not as your husband. And this is the thing. You can drive yourself crazy that whole 24 hours while you're at work. And I can tell you I'm X place, but truly be over at Y. So stop driving yourself crazy. Listen, you know, you got to have some trust. So back to what you're asking as far as him training women, as long I trust him. Do I trust women? No. Right. No. But I understand that it's his place to keep things in place. And so yeah, it's, you know, that's his job. They don't owe me anything. And so with him being, you know, having involvement with different women, keep it on the up and up at all times. And he does, I have to say that. So there were times where, you know, he might be training glutes and he's panning and I'm seeing, you know, some things on Instagram and I hit him up like, delete it. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you're showing too much, delete it. And he'll just delete it, you know? And so we have an understanding that, yes, he has interaction with women. At one point, I was sleeping every third day with men, you know? And so we have to have trust in each other, knowing that we're going to keep things on the up and up, you know? And now I'm like, whatever, you know? I trust him implicitly. And
sleeping every third day with men at the
I was about to say, listen, we were going to fix that.
Firefighter talk.
Jason, don't worry. Don't worry.
She was going to clean it up.
I was going to clean it up. We were about to come right back around.
For her to clean up.
Because
Stop talking like you a
because
chief.
the people didn't know, or may not have known that you you just retired from being not a police chief, girl, I didn't mess you. Fire chief, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another transition because I want to talk about that as well. But since Helani did spend so much time away with men, how did you handle it?
I mean, it was only like a couple times I wanted to pull up, just because.
Did you ever pull up?
Did I ever pull up?
You didn't. He
threatened, but he ain't never show up.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, because like somebody like will literally have a crush on her and feel some type of way, and I'm like, what?
I'm gonna drop your lunch off tonight.
That ain't going, But I guess I never really pulled up. But it is what it is, I never felt.
Y'all not worried about those things. So are y'all at the point in your relationship where you can switch phones, have passcodes, see each other's group chats, all the things, and it bothers you not?
Yes.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Both ways.
I think that you freed somebody, though, Helani, when you said that, this is something that you have evolved into. And you still will tell him, sir.
Yep.
Not that one. Take it down. Because there are people who, with anybody, I mean, it's human nature to see people who appear to be perfect on social media and feel like everything is perfect. They don't have any issues. There aren't any challenges. There are no disagreements. But you're still human. And just because you've been together, 2 decades does not mean that everything is perfect or that you even know every single thing about each other. So I appreciate your honesty for sure. And I want to get into this transition because you transitioned from fire chief, which is badass as hell. Bossy. I want to know how you even got into it. We're going to talk about how you got out of it, but I do want to know how you got into it. But you had a transition from fire chief to entrepreneur, $1 million businesswoman, right? But Jason, you've had transitions as well. So how have you managed to evolve and grow together? Because you could crack up laughing thinking about who you were like the day y'all met versus who you are now and who you've become together. How have y'all been able to do that?
I think just growing and just getting more mature. When we got married, I was 19, he was 20 years old. So communication, what is that? We didn't really understand what that looked like. And so now, he's 40, I'll be 40 in July. And things are just different. Now it's one of those things where as we're transitioning, we transition together. So like when I was coming out of the fire service, literally, that was a topic of conversation in my house consistently of when should I do it, how I should do it, how we're going to, because the transition it's our transition, because it affects both of us. It affects our children. And so I think that's with everything that we do now. Everything is like this. Whereas I'll say when we first got married, we were still operating like this and wondering why we would argue all the time, wondering why we just couldn't see eye to eye. But we were functioning like two single individuals living in the same household. And so once we figured it out and understood, like, we're one and we got to operate as a unit in everything. And so that's what we do. So as we're transitioning from, different jobs or to building different businesses, it's literally us together figuring it out. We plan it out. We talk about everything. It's never one of those things like, I'm going to do this. No, we're going to do it.
Is it permission though? Do y'all ask permission for things? Jason, you got to clear it by Helani? Can you make the decision and explain it later?
She acts like it's not, but yes, I
really
definitely have to. She don't.
Let's
talk about it.
We talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, he does have to ask. And let me just say this. Let me say this real quick before you even get started, because I already know what you're about to do. So, with permission, it's not that he has to ask permission, but you do have to consider me. And so if you got plans to go mastermind on Fridays, I need to know that I'm masterminding on Friday at this particular place. It's a courtesy. And so while he might look at it as like he's asking for permission, I need to know.
That's not it. Here's
what
the thing. So when you're moving and shaking through the city, you know what I mean? You might go here. I'm like, hey, I'm finna go to Sweet Lounge. We're going to get a drink, and we're going to chill and chop it up. We go to Sweet Lounge. Okay, the crowd don't look right. The valet not. We shoot across the street to such and such, and then,
But you were supposed to be at the Sweet Lounge.
Exactly.
And I need to know.
I thought you said you were at Sweet. That looks like you at the Green Bar or whatever. I'm like, look, man, I ain't got time to be telling you every single move. So, again, I don't want to conform to that. You know what I'm saying? I
You still
explained it to her.
bucking? You still
I'm bucking? Yeah, I got to, because it's like, I told you my intentions, but if something changed, it just changed. But she does it all the time. And I'm like, damn, that's like Boogaloo. I thought you were going to bar vegan. You know what I mean?
Say something? Or you just don't care? So
He'll say
I
something.
say this. I say, now, when I did that last week, it was an issue. Oh, boy, but boy, I'm like, it's different.
It's different.
But again, like I said, I really don't care. You know what I mean? She cares more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I will bring it up because she always on me about it.
Yeah.
How you gonna bring that? And you be
I
doing
think it comes down to you knowing your partner, though, right?
It does.
And love languages and how you communicate, how you receive love, how you need to get all those things. I think because after 20 years, like, you have to have figured out something.
Oh, absolutely.
And you even just mentioned too, like, y'all used to argue every day. Like, this is an evolution. So what was the thing? Was it therapy? Was it what was the thing that took you from fighting like cats and dogs to let's figure this thing out? Like, let's look at this as a partnership.
And I can't really pinpoint where that came in, but I do remember we went to 2 counseling sessions, just 2. And I remember the counselor, she taught us how to have disagreements. Mm-hmm. And those 2 sessions were so valuable because literally we still apply that to this day.
Well, tell it to us. Give us a little free.
Yeah.
So basically, people ask all the time, like, well, so give me some advice, right? And this is just the one thing because it's so unique. It's not the whatever typical advice. So I always say, we learn how to argue. Like, what do you mean? Like, we literally learn how to argue. So it's like this. I go, she goes, right? I go, she goes. We do it twice. If we don't see eye to eye, or if we don't agree, we drop it. But the thing is, like, when she's talking, I can't be preparing my next statement. Like, you really got to truly work on that part. You know what I mean? And we mess up sometimes, but I truly want to hear her. And sometimes when she's talking, I'm talking, she's talking. Before we even have to just put it on pause, it's like, oh, there it is right there. That's the issue. You thought, or I see why you think like that, but that's not that. Because I was listening. I was really listening. I might be listening to see if I was gonna win this debate or not. But sometimes, and I'm humble enough to be like, got it. That's what bothered you. I apologize. That type of thing. We end it.
Yeah. And she mentioned too, once you're done with the situation, you can't keep coming back to it. And she likened it because at that time our child, Riley, we only had Riley. We didn't have Kingston. Riley was like 2, something like that. And he likened it to him and Riley saying, if you discipline Riley one time for something, you discipline her, she's in trouble, all that good stuff. The next day, are you going to discipline her again for...
Right.
And so for what she did yesterday, and so he said no. And so she said, well, you can't do that to your spouse either. So once you're done with it, you have to be totally done with it. You can't keep on rehashing. You can't keep bringing it up. It's over. And you have to be okay with always not being able to come to an agreement. At some point, it's like, you know what? Okay, I hear you. I respect you. I don't agree with you. And we got to table this.
We're going to agree to this.
It's okay to say that.
It's okay.
I don't agree now, but all right.
And you don't be cursing out a little bit when you mad.
Yeah, I do.
And then you keep it moving. Okay. All right. So let's get into some business advice, though, because we can't just talk about the love without also talking about these successful multi-million-dollar brands that you all have built. And I don't know, do you all work much like together in your businesses?
Yeah, we do.
So, you know what? I remember the video of Jason sitting at the table printing off the labels when you first started Body Envy. You're like, man, she got me over here doing all this work. And to see y'all sitting at that kitchen table, to see what y'all are doing now, like, it truly is inspirational to watch, to, have been able to see you grow. What is your advice for someone out there who would love to have a business partnership with their significant other? Like, how do you keep business, regardless of your personal feelings, regardless of what went on, this morning? Like, how do you keep the main thing the main thing?
Let me say something.
Okay.
There's a lot of hobbies you and your spouse can do, but you're not going to find one better than getting money with your spouse. Getting money together is like, hell, what is it, 40% of marriages fail because of the income. You know what I mean? So I just think that early on we started doing things together, like MLMs, like the multi-level marketing and things of that nature, where we had to do teamwork, like she was my partner, that type of thing. So that built up a lot of, camaraderie between us in business. It was on a very, very low scale. I used to bootleg CDs. I'm selling CDs and I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, take these to the firehouse. And she took them to the firehouse. It sold more to me. I said, oh, yeah. Tomorrow I need you to take this and that, clothes, anything. I've always been a hustler, but I always included her because I'm like,
she can hustle in ways you can't.
Yeah, girls can come from the left when I'm thinking right-minded. You know what I mean? So, and that's typically, basically how it started. Like us just doing like side hustles and things of that nature, and me including her. She's always been military-minded, clock, 24-hour shift, that type of thing. I've always been
make it do what it do.
Yeah, trying to get it out the mud. So
then, how was his transition for you, Helani? Because, and I don't know the full story, but like you just said, you've always been hustling. I know I've heard the story you and Alex doing the telemarketing. So I can imagine the things you tried as you were trying to figure it out. How do you? And I liken that, no shade, but I liken it to how we say, like, don't date the man that's trying to be a rapper. Like the man that's trying to figure it out. He got a bunch of goals, a bunch of dreams, but is he putting it together? It worked out, right? How did you stay down? Like, how were you still shooting in the gym when he wasn't making no shots?
Right. So just like he said, he saw some of my qualities. I saw his too. And I knew that, yeah, he was dibbling, dabbling in a lot of things trying to figure it out. But he worked. He didn't have a problem with getting his hands dirty. He didn't have a problem with doing certain things in order to get to a certain point, And so I knew that. And so I didn't like it. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't like it. I wanted him to have something that I felt was stable. I did. But at the end of the day, that's not who I married. That he's never been that. He's always
been stable.
Never. No, he's never been that guy to work for somebody, and if he did, it was literally just for a period of time for him to get through something, And so I had to accept that that's who he is. And so let me help him figure it out. Let me not be a hindrance and sit back and, oh, you're doing something again. What we doing now? You're putting us in a bind again. Let me try to, okay, what are we doing? All right, so what do we need to do to get this trucking company running? What do we need to do to get this gym up? And so be his support.
Let me piggyback off that.
Sure.
Where the camera at right there? This the camera?
That's the camera.
That's the camera. So listen, I have this saying, right? Women, let me think how I say it. Women are...
Their loyalty is tested.
Yeah, okay.
I know where you're going.
A woman's loyalty is tested when her man has nothing, right? Just like we talking about the grind and things of that nature. She a pretty girl. Guys out here got money, things of that nature. Her loyalty is tested when her man has nothing. On the flip side, a man's loyalty is tested when he has everything, right? So just like it's super easy for a broke chick to get a man of this stature, you know what I'm saying? On the flip side, it's, it's the same thing with a guy. But just like it might have been a task for her to concentrate on me, you know what I mean? Or a guy, a woman who's going through whatever we went through before. If you're watching this and you're like, man, this boy, this money slow, but stay down because everybody in my circle has the same story. You know what I mean? It's a formula. It's a thing that guys see in women that hold them down and who understand, like, all right, look, money isn't everything. I'll make you smile, you make me smile, we have a good time. All right, picnic, we ain't got that much money, that type of thing. But like my friend Neo, he got pictures recycling cans and stuff like that with his
Dump
wife.
truck.
Yeah, Marcus, he was telling me about his wife Turk. He was putting stuff in her name, you know what I mean, because his credit was shot, things of that nature. Chris, like all my guys have the same come up story, the ones that are married, you know what I mean? So like I say, it's a trend in there somewhere. So if you that person right now.
But listen, this the thing though.
See.
But what about the flip? I think you're right. I agree 100%. And I think that if we did profiles on all of y'all, there's a common denominator with all of y'all that, okay, if he has this thing, stick with him. But I think it's a lot of men who talk a good game, say they got plans, but they're pretending. So we don't want the women to waste their good years with a guy who doesn't have that thing and he's just pretending to have it. So is there something that we should be looking for, or the questions we should be asking, or do you think it's just something we could pick up on? Like how you said, I just knew, he wasn't playing around because he was a hard worker.
You should be able to pick up on it.
You should. I mean, are they working?
Yeah.
Are they truly working?
4 o'clock in the morning, I'm up.
Right. What are they
back
grinding?
brace. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, the money wasn't what it is now, but I had a back brace on and some steel toe shoes, and I'm out here busting my ass. You know what I mean? So that's how you know. You know what I mean?
The work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic.
2, 3 jobs, whatever. Hustling this, get off and do that. You know.
And for us, I remember when we were trying to get our first apartment, and we didn't have any money. In the apartment, I think our rent was like $600 and something, something like that. And we were staying at his mom's house. And we were like, we got to get out of here. We got to get our apartment.
This was like for like a week.
Yeah, this was like a week. We were there, I mean, literally just got to his mom's house. We weren't trying to stay. We had just gotten married. We're like, okay, we got to get out of here. So long story short, he's like, I got it. He left that evening. He came back. He said, I got the deposit, I got the rent, and then I got the money for the furniture. So I knew from an early age.
It was a party. It wasn't dope.
Right.
Threw a party.
Parties. He threw a party, y'all. He threw a party. Nothing illegal. But yeah, so I knew from an early age that he'll get it. He will do whatever it takes. And me too. There were times where I'm working my 24-hour shift in the fire department. I'm getting off the next day, and then I'm going to work a 12-hour shift on an ambulance. Mm-hmm. So we both.
So the work ethic has been there. The prize just finally caught up to y'all putting in the work.
Exactly. Exactly. It's always been there. And so for, women who are dealing with, or even men who are dealing with their significant other, and they're literally hands everywhere, just in everything. At some point, of course, you got to streamline it. But you do have to look at the qualities of your partner. Are they a hard worker? Mm-hmm. Do they run when things get hard? Just look at the history. That'll help you to know if you need to stay down or not. And then, like he said, how does he treat you? How does she treat you? Do y'all have a great time together? Because money is not everything. There's so much emphasis put on money, money, money. Yeah, it makes life more comfortable.
It comes and goes, though.
But it comes and goes. And look, think about how many people, rich people, wealthy people, commit suicide. Money is not what makes you happy. It adds to it. But if that's your motivating factor for a relationship is money,
ain't gonna last long.
It's not.
Whew. Okay, so Helani, you have something exciting that's coming.
I do.
We got to talk about this Chief Woman Officer. That's like the most sexy, the Chief Woman Officer Conference. I said it right.
You did. You said it right.
Coming to Atlanta this May. Tell the people what it's all about and why they need to be in the building.
So as women, so of course I retired from the fire service as a battalion chief. So that's where the chief comes in. But in the grand scheme of things for the everyday woman, you're the chief of your life, right? As women, we wear so many hats. We're moms, we're wives, we run businesses. There's so many things that we do. We take care of the households. We got to take care of ourselves. There's so much. So you're the chief woman officer of your life. So this conference is going into all things that women have to deal with, from business to relationships to just balancing it all. How you prioritize, how you build businesses, how do you have a successful relationship, how do you choose the right partner.
So is the girl Stop Playing podcast a part of this Chief Woman? We shooting shots all 2022.
Let's make it
We're going to talk
happen.
about it. We're going to talk about it.
Talk about it.
We got to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
May
21st.
Here in Atlanta. Give them the information. If registration's not open yet, both of you all share your Instagram website so people know where they can find you and support.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm Mrs. MRS, the number 2, weeks out. As far as the conference is concerned, there will be information up within the next month regarding the conference, so stay tuned for that. So you can find me there. Of course, shop my wonderful luxury athleisure wear line, Body Envy. That website is The Body, N as in Nancy, V as in Victor.com. I also have a bomb mentorship, you guys, where I teach people how to build a flourishing 6 to 7 figure company called Bosch University, BAWSE University.com.
Awesome. I'm Mr. 2 Weeks Out on Instagram. You can find me at the Loft Athletic Club. I have a online fitness program called x28fitness.com. I also teach people how to get into Toro and Airbnb through my university called 4K University. I also have a clothing line. Damn, I should have worn my shirt. I also have a clothing line, New Age CEOs. You might see the shirt that says rapper, athlete, entrepreneur, and the rapper and the athlete is crossed out. That's us. So newageceos.com. And that's everything we got.
Listen, y'all, this was good. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and if you have not subscribed yet, girl, stop playing. See you next week. Peace out, y'all.